The microphone. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. It helps if I have a microphone on, doesn't it? Hello, Rosemary. Hello, Heather. Hope you're all right. Yes, Dudley Castle and Zoo. The zoo is at the bottom. Eh?
Oh, it was so funny when I'm in here and they're all out there because I'm so used to seeing their comments.
Yes.
Your phone, while you're there.
Yes, I could actually put it up on my phone.
Good. We have some at when I teach at Wardington. A few students do that. They'll sync into the internet, and they'll watch my demonstration live because they can see it better with the camera. Hello, Dee. Than they can from sitting across. So so that's why we picked Wardington, because it has Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So we've got lots of options then for everybody.
Sue says hello.
Yeah, Sue says hello, Mrs. Riley.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Sue. Hello, I've been. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Sue? I've been done 2 workshops today and yesterday up at Orchard Fields with Vicky.
That's nice. There'll be a delay in the response in the ether. Are you there? Are you there? So yeah, we're doing Dudley Castle today. It's an iconic view of Dudley Castle. Obviously, this is the top of the hill. You used to sit on the cannon. I think everybody sat on that cannon, haven't they, Rosemary? And the zoo is all around the castle and down the bottom of the hill. It's bigger than a bonk, really.
I've never been to Dudley Castle.
Have you not? It's lovely, and it's only around the corner from the Black Country Museum.
Well, I've been there.
You just seen the castle from round the cut.
I haven't been looking.
Round the cut, got the cut that runs round the back, are you? Right. Sue says, how lovely was it? Canals or toys?
Toys.
Toys. Right. Oh, I haven't put the birds on.
You could be our intermediary now.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I need.
So I was just explaining to Liz, I am in somewhat agony today because I was a little foolish, but to be honest, I'm suffering for you. It's your faults.
My fault.
Let's do some gaslighting here. It's your fault I'm in pain. No, yesterday afternoon, we've had issues with our internet. Not the Facebook thing, but just generally our internet. Every time the phone rang, occasionally it disconnected service. Yesterday it was so bad that every time the phone rang or I used the card machine, it disconnected service. So I had to phone up our service provider yesterday after the lesson, send photographs. They were shocked and they were surprised we'd ever had internet the way it was set up by the BT engineer. So I had to do a lot of moving around, and it did mean I had to carry myself, because everybody had left the building, but everybody's got worse backs than me in this building. So I had to weigh up the pros and cons of how damaged I would make myself by carrying the photocopier across the room by myself, which I did. But fortunately, the CCTV works, the phone works, you're live, so this must work. We haven't had the phone ring today to work out how bad it is, but I think it's fine. So thank you for joining.
I'll give you massage later, mate.
Oh, thanks. D refuses to be blamed indiscriminately. Fine then.
I've got to take one for the team.
Yes, suffer for your art. Right, so Dudley Castle, as usual, we will measure and do. It must be a wintry one.
Have you got the birds on?
I have. They're a bit quiet today. They're a bit quiet.
That's it.
There we go. It's the blackbird. Once the blackbirds chip in,
Yes, we're away.
you've got it, haven't you? I've got 5 of you today. That's lovely.
It's not an embossing tool job, is it, today?
Do you want me to call to test? They're all offering to call and test.
Yeah, go on then.
She says she's not taking one for the team. She capital lettered. She's shouting at me.
Ooh,
Who's
D,
this?
calm down, dear.
D, because I blamed her. That's okay, D. It's all my fault. Well, the internet isn't my fault, but hurting myself is. Because I could have waited for Jackie this morning, but then it would have been a struggle to get it ready for the afternoon. So,
You like to be a martyr.
I do.
Martyr to your
I like to have a little bit of sympathy.
little bit.
I've come to the wrong place. I realise that.
Yeah.
I shall have to go and
You're not
I have nowhere. I have nowhere to get sympathy from now. The ones that would have sympathised are dead. Oh, how sad my life is.
Oh,
Never mind.
sympathising with
You are, yes, thank you.
Honestly.
No, I don't think we need to. Don't call and test it because you'll disconnect yourself if it doesn't. So don't. Let's just
Let's just hope.
cross fingers.
Let's just calm down.
Hello, Chris. I'm fine. My end. I'm fine. My end because I've been watching. Let me double check. It may well be your internet because I've done everything my end now. I can't do any more. Oh, thank you, Heather. Heather says she's sympathetic. We just don't show it. I loved all your little mice, by the way, last week. Really cute. I'm just logging it onto my phone. Do you know what I've had in my head all day, Liz? Since I walked through the park and it had an autumn feel. Autumn days when the grass is jewelled. Oh,
Favourite.
did you know, with that song about the jets refueled in the sky,
Yeah.
she wrote it for pupils at Birmingham that lived near the airport, a school near the airport, and that line is specifically for students that the primary schools near Birmingham Airport. So there you go. Right, Jackie's abandoning me,
Yeah.
and then you're back in tomorrow, aren't you? See how thrilled she is from the joys of coming in. She knows what the job is for the first thing in the morning.
Oh.
Hello, Sandra.
Oh, they're all coming on now.
They're all here now. Thank you, Jackie. See you
Yes,
tomorrow. Can you
okay.
put my sign up for me?
Yes.
Thanks.
She's going to put a sign out the front and say, please ring
Please.
this number.
Yeah, come in.
Get loads of phone calls.
Right, let's map him out. Bye, thank you. About 3 fingers down is the top of the tower, roughly. 3 fingers down from the top. Yeah, I'm not cutting out on mine, and I've not got any squares, angry squares or anything, and I can see the router from here, and it's all green. It's all lovely and green. I haven't got any. I could have given you some Black Country jokes for today, but I won't, because none of you'd understand them anyway. About a thumb width in from the right. Straightish. I'm not using a ruler today. I think the only time I'm going to come unstuck without using a ruler is going to be for the flagpole.
Well, I won't be using one either, so
We'll be rebels together.
we'll be rebels together.
Right, so the actual height of the tower is about, because there's that wall, isn't there, that comes in, is about 4 fingers. Oh, actually, no, it's 5 fingers. 4 fingers and an extra finger there. There we go. 4 fingers. Let me rub that extra line out there. 4 fingers. And that comes in 2 fingers from the right. So it comes from there. Let me rub out any extra lines because I don't want to confuse you. Because the wall comes into the tower, doesn't it? About a finger width, yes. So as usual, we will plan it all out and then we'll fill it all in. Right, now the actual tower, well, it's a funny shape because it curves and then it goes a long way, but the curved bit is about 3 fingers wide. That's sort of the bit that it starts to come into the ruination. 2 fingers at the top, 2 fingers in, and then it slowly crumbles. And it keeps going. So we've got 3 fingers there, and it's about 2 fingers extra where it keeps just dropping till we get a straight line How big's that drop, would you say? It's about 3 fingers, that drop, so I could drop it a little bit more, look. Again, I'll get rid of any lines, I don't want to confuse you. I've had to paint Dudley Castle quite a few times over the years for commissions and...
Is it English heritage?
Do you know, I don't know. Because it's part of the zoo, I think it's the zoo that looks after the castle, because I do a lot of live music concerts there. I know before COVID, Catherine Jenkins sang at Dudley Castle.
Oh, right.
I didn't get to see her. Normally I see most of Catherine Jenkins, I used to see all of her concerts.
Like it.
I've gone off for a little bit now,
I don't like
but it's about just over 2 fingers, that line, 2 fingers deep. I've gone off for a little bit. But no, she's a good singer.
Well, she's got a lovely voice, but don't like her personality.
She does sometimes play on the girl next door kind of thing.
Yeah, and she clearly isn't, is she?
No, she isn't. She's good. She's quite believable. Right, about 2 fingers in is the end of. Have I got enough room? Going to be tight. I think I might have to shrink that a little bit, because 4 fingers in is the gap where the wall is, and that's just where I've got my line for the decayed bit. Because where's is that? I bet that cannon is almost halfway down, isn't it? The top of the cannon is halfway down the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is halfway, isn't it for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's halfway. Yeah, because that's only 2 fingers, isn't it? Roundabout. 3 fingers. Sorry, that whole extra section where the flagpole is, from the battlements down, is about 3 fingers.
What's that bit you're drawing there?
This bit is
What is that bit?
that is the end of the wall. That's that bit.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I got it.
And that curves up a little bit. I will probably change this quite a lot. Because that should be a bit lower then. If the cannon's halfway, that platform needs to be there. I think I need to drop that even more. Actually, looking at it by eye, that is the line there. That's too high. That's too high. We have now we have nearly 70 videos on the ArtStream site. And what I will try to do before I leave here today is I will upload this on there. So people on catch up can join in. I'm going to do a little straight line there, and then the battlements, they're really tall, they're about a little finger tall. It is a bit faffy, isn't it? It's not ended for me, Rosemary. That sadly, that is your internet, not mine, because I'm actually watching myself live on my phone. So sadly, it ain't me. I'm watching myself twice, actually. I'm watching myself recorded live, and I'm watching myself on my phone live. I have no interruptions my end at all.
Apart from me.
Apart from Liz, yeah. So
I
actually,
can't interrupt because I'm concentrating.
oh, now it says it's interrupted, and I can't see why.
Oh, yeah, look, red. It's gone red.
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah,
that's the issue. But my Wi-Fi isn't. So it's not my Wi-Fi. This is Facebook, I think. No, it's green now. It's fine.
It does that quite often though. When
Yeah.
you're at home, you'll sort of just stop and then you come back on again.
Yeah, I don't know what causes that because it, as you can see, my internet hasn't fluctuated at all. It's just life, I think. Sadly,
Too many people on.
too many people having to do social media stuff. I guess. Media. I think I need to move that over actually. OpenReach are messing about in town. That's probably the answer then. If you know that, because they're probably touching buttons, messing. They're probably messing about. So I want a nice straight line there on my castle. About 2 fingers up. My turret, I think, needs to be a bit taller. Judging from that bit, that goes up. I need to put another finger height on my turret. I'm going to add another finger's height on there, because I think I've made it more stumpy than it is. I'm making it more of a ruin than it actually is.
Rub out again.
I know, rubbing out. But this is all the rough stage, isn't it? Everything.
I've got my sturdy putty rubber.
Good job. Good old putty rubber.
I think my turret is too small, too narrow.
Too narrow. You see, I think a narrower one is probably better.
Well, I'm going to make it a bit wider because it doesn't look turrety enough. That's better.
See, that's because inside, you see, either a finger down from this line is where we've got the line for the battlements, and that is slightly wider than a standard pencil. That's what the flag's on. Now this other bit to the side of it just curves down slightly because it is a curved wall. But you can't really tell that from the top battlement bit. I'll bring that in a bit because this whole wall is a little bit wider here, so I'm just going to do an extra scribbly bit like that. Lots of jerky squiggles. I've gone back to singing that song, have I? I'm still working. It's weird, isn't it? I think it might be. I think it could still be Facebook glitches from their problem on Monday evening, you know, because I know they said they're trying to get things back to normal yesterday, but they haven't fully succeeded. I'm thinking it's more than just a server issue, to be quite honest.
It was most enjoyable, wasn't it, not having Facebook on Monday?
Well, it's I couldn't work, but I did manage to do 2 modules on my art therapy course, which is quite good because it's something that I don't really get time to do. So it did help me get a little bit further on that. It was quite interesting because it was about art therapy in children, but also brain development, and an interesting genetic study from King's College, and they looked at the DNA of over 826,000 people and compared the jobs that they did in terms of the creative sector, and it was found that there's a 25% more likelihood of mental illness if you're in a creative job. So creative people, actors, writers, musicians, artists are 25% genetically more likely, which is quite interesting.
I wonder why.
No, yeah, it's I mean, obviously, when you look through art history and musicians, you can see that all of the greats have some sort of mental illness.
Yeah.
And I've always, as you know, in art history, I talk about it a lot, that that's a really predefining factor. But until recently, there hasn't been the medical.
But then it's a little bit like people who are very entrepreneurial, particularly in the world of science and
Yes.
things like that, and medicine. They're a certain type of person.
Yes, because you have to be focused. Yes.
And very dogmatic, and not just anybody is going to discover something.
No, absolutely. I think it's very interesting. But then we were talking about it in my art history course last night at Byfield, and we were saying that there are creative people with bipolar who refuse medication because it's what helps them be creative. They don't want to lose that creativity. They'd rather put up with the downside, the lower moods, and still have creativity.
Well, the thing is, if you medicate, unless you're really severe, if you medicate yourself, you're not actually going to be 100% yourself, are you?
No. Well, this is it. It's going to do something. I'm just looking at that platform that I nearly called it a camel. It's a cannon. We're not doing camels. Don't panic. There are no camels. It's about a generous thumb width. And that comes level with that line there. And then it starts to drop and rapidly.
Is that little hillock?
Yes. Who you calling a hillock?
Hilly tussock.
It kind of is a good old curve there, isn't it, that? Drops down.
That's because it's a Motte and Bailey type castle, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's a massive hill. I always found that really interesting when I first moved to Banbury, and then because I worked in Paperway in Broad Street, I was the manager there. And when I first heard that Banbury had a castle, when I look out of the shop in Broad Street, it's a very broad street that you look to the right is to the marketplace, and to the left it goes uphill. So I presume that castle would have been uphill with the broad street leading to the marketplace. Never would have thought, coming from Dudley, which is on a big hill, I never would have thought it would have been in the dip.
No.
Because it's not really defensible. Clearly, it wasn't that defensible because it kept getting attacked and ruined all the time because it's in the dip. It must have been the river that kept it in that place. Because the river's not even that nearby, is it?
No, not really. Well, it is. Yeah, the river is quite nearby.
So maybe that would be why they put it there, because of the water source.
So where the castle is, of course, the river is right next to the canal. So it's not actually that far.
No, it's not that far because
wouldn't have been there, of course.
no, and Debenhams, what was Debenhams?
Yeah.
Was it Debenhams? No. Debenhams at the front. What's the one at the back that was closed down? British Home Stores was the site of the keep.
Oh yeah, well that, of course, take the canal away.
Yes.
Is right next to the river.
Yeah, so that would be it then. It would be the river that made it the perfect spot, but sadly, meaning it would get attacked a lot. I think that works. The flag pole is 3 fingers tall.
Mine look a bit like chimney pots.
They are a bit like we'll tweak them.
It looks like the back streets of a Victorian back-to-backs, mine does, rather than castle at the moment.
Yeah, well, hopefully
We'll be flashing again.
Yes, I don't. What is going on? Internet is fine. This is the signal.
Is anybody getting? Is it breaking up on them?
Yeah, it's breaking up for me on here.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is the signal it's the feed, not the internet. That is Facebook's feed.
Yeah. Well,
So
if they come down to the classroom, you're not breaking up.
well, no, I'm not breaking up. That's true. If you come here, I'm not breaking up. You don't get any interfere. Well, I might. Oh, well, that sounds a bit rude. I won't interfere with you. No, there is
Might
no
have a
interference.
break-up as well,
Yeah,
A breakdown.
little finger width is the flag. We've got the Union Jack.
Flag. Right, let's see if I can get the flag straight.
Well, it's billowing a little, isn't it? So we could.
No, it's a flagpole.
Oh, the flagpole. It's mine, isn't. I could use my extra pencil as a ruler.
I don't really care, as I've said to you before, whether my straight lines are 100% straight. I am quite good at drawing a straight line, but I quite like the naturalistic.
Rosemary's the castle expert. She said the swampland defended the one side, of course, because it would all be where Grimsbury is swampland, isn't it?
Swampland, where Sue lives. It's
Yes,
swampland,
Sue
isn't
lives
it?
in the swamp, yeah. And Banbury was a major link town, and court was held when the king of that time travelled. That's true.
Who's this? Who's
Rosemary.
Rosemary?
Yeah, because she does the reenactments and stuff of the. It's the medieval period you're in, isn't it, Rosemary? It's at like 14th, 15th century.
Does she do sealed knot?
No, she's.
Before that.
Oh, yeah, what's the group? It's a bird. The Crows, I think. The reenactment group. I'm sure it's called the
I've
Crows.
not heard of it. Where does she do her stuff?
Where do you do your stuff, Rosemary? Sue says just call her Shrek. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Get out of my swamp.
Bless her.
Oh, we would never call you Shrek.
No, we wouldn't. I think it, but we'll call her it. Oh,
It's me.
oh, she's back.
Yes.
You're more like Princess Fiona. Do you know the Muffin Man? It's right. We were talking about the Banbury Castle, and it's the swampland. Grimsbury was swampland, and we said Sue lives in the swamp, so she said call me Shrek. That's all.
Jackie, you're
That's all.
supposed to have gone home. What-
She had to go to the bank, and we're getting loads of red square, and it's not my internet.
It's Facebook.
I think it's Facebook.
I
300
was
years
having
before the
trouble with
sealed knot,
Facebook.
Rosemary is.
She's doing what?
Her stuff is 300 years before what the sealed knot
Right,
does.
what's her group then?
The Crows.
The Crows.
Thank you.
I've not heard of them.
Thank you, Jack.
The Crows. I'm writing it down. Where's she doing her next?
Where do you crow, Rosemary?
Where you crowing, Rosemary?
I've just been to check out the high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll text you.
Yes,
my,
do. I'm interested. Thank you.
findings.
Thank you, Jackie.
Just a bit of espionage.
Good, I love it. That's a bit of gossip.
Yeah. Got be done.
Gotta be done, indeed.
So about a finger width above that wall line is the really large window hole, which is almost level. You're only saying those things because you're not here. I know. Well, I'd be much nicer to you in person because you pay more. I'm not though, am I, Liz?
No,
No.
I pay more, I come in and I still get insulted.
So that's about a finger, a really generous finger width, that window. Interestingly, you can see at one time that window, you can just about make it out on your photocopy, Liz. If the window that we've done,
Yeah.
above the sandstone lintel, there's actually a thinner lintel of an archway. So it was an arched window originally,
Yeah.
or would it have been a doorway? It's big enough to be a door.
Well, not up there.
Well, it could have been a different
Climbing up
battlement,
the wall.
because does that I wonder if that links with that. You see, that line there is where people walk.
I suspect it originally would have been a slit, an arrow.
Yeah, an arrow
slit,
hole.
And then they widened it.
Yeah, because there's that little archway there as well, isn't there? Because it's a really interesting castle because you can. Oh, so she does about the War of the Roses and before the Age of Chivalry and the Companions of the Crow. The Age of Chivalry and the Companions of the Crow are the two groups.
Amazing. Is Rosemary local?
Yeah,
Where's
she lives.
Crow then?
Well, yeah. Where does the crow? Yeah, but Rosemary's swampland too.
Right. But is she growing anywhere, or are they still COVID restricted?
Yeah, that's
'Cause I
true.
love things like that. I crowing.
Because I know they do a lot of reenactments. We were, before COVID, we were looking to do a Renaissance fair in Banbury instead of an old town to have, to celebrate the history of Banbury.
Yeah.
But obviously that never really happened.
Why you're not the mayor of Banbury, I don't know that.
Oh, well, because I'm too vocal, Liz, that's why.
Well, you need to get some stuff done.
Well, it was lovely to have the women's...
It was. I went and saw them.
Did you? I was teaching at the time, so I couldn't, but I was trying to do as much from the old town
They started
as
coming
possible.
round the corner. Roger went, here they come. I got my phone out the bag, picked it out, pressed the thing, and they're gone.
I know, pretty fast, isn't it?
Really fast.
So I managed to congratulate... Though the Crows are based in Oxford and Gloucester, and the Age of Chivalry is in Plymouth.
Right, well, thank you, Rosemary. I shall keep an eye out for some crowing. I'm 1940, so that's my period.
Yes.
I'm not, that's
Too far. I find it interesting,
very interesting.
but I do like... I go more 30s, you see. That's why I like the All Creatures Great and Small, because it's with the cars and...
Yeah, we like it from kind of Art Deco
Yeah.
up to about the early 50s.
Yes.
50s.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that's it, really.
Yeah. That's
it's
it.
all downhill, isn't it? I'm just glad I was born in the 50s and experienced a bit of the early 60s when that life was kind of like that.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the top of that other window. The archway is level with that wall line and it's about a little finger width down. It's about there, isn't it?
Funny how they have to sink the windows, aren't
Yeah, they don't make... They must... I mean, obviously, we're looking at a really ancient building that would have been built on and added to with extra bits, and then when it was destroyed, or partly destroyed, we don't know what bits joined up to what, because there could have been wooden staircases, there could have been stone or wooden other
If it was
bits.
a spiral staircase, you might have had one window
Yeah.
on each level, mightn't you?
Yes.
Maybe.
Because you can climb it inside, and they've rebuilt part of the castle on the grounds, because it's really a massive area. The castle site. It's well worth going for a visit. You have to. The only way to access the castle is by going to the zoo.
Yeah, I don't like zoos.
Um,
I don't do zoos. Unless they're big open.
so Rosemary says a lot of the members do multiple periods. The main 15th century event is in Tewkesbury in Julys usually.
Right, I'll keep an eye open. She'll have to let us know.
Yeah. There's a little doorway there, which is about a pencil width, the top of a door there.
And I want to see you singing on the trains at.
I know. I don't really push myself to do that, because I'm stuck here a lot of the time. I don't like to say I'm stuck here because I enjoy what I do, but I don't get much freedom. I am singing on Armistice Day at the Naffy Hall in Broad Street.
The Naffy.
Nafsa, something like that. Nafsa.
Oh yeah. The Rafa Club. Is it the Rafa?
It must
Club?
be something down.
The
Yeah,
RAFL.
yeah. The
Rafa Club.
the one the other side of Crofts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks a bit run down.
Yeah, they're trying to do it up a bit.
But they are painting it and everything.
Yeah, they're trying to make it better.
Oh, that's good. Then.
Yeah.
Got a gig.
Yeah, it's nice. Still a bit uncertain about indoor stick stuff, but I can't. About thumb width is where the cannon starts.
You should have been on that train. Roger and I were like, oh my god, there wasn't a single person with a mask on.
Oh, it scares me.
We were all singing along, and I'm like, oh god.
Well, this is the thing that I'm doing on Armistice Day in the room with about 50 people is a sing-along.
Well, you've just got to get on with it, Barry, haven't you? Honestly, because otherwise, when will you do it?
Well, exactly.
What are you doing now?
I'm just drawing the cannon. It's much thinner than a pencil width.
It's a very thin cannon.
But yeah, I think we do need to have a bit of normality, but we have to be sensible with it as well.
We do. You're right.
I think that looks. See down here, you see that's where this bit's actual brick bit, isn't it? And then it goes up again. So this is like, this area is just huge rubble. So there would have been a wall here, really thick wall.
There's something in the middle. That's where the light's shining on it. I can't make out the little bit in the middle.
Which bit?
The-
That there.
No, left of that down
That.
there.
It's a little.
To the shop. And Facebook is playing up big time.
We're back. We're back. Good.
Yes, we're back. I told them where you can.
Oh. Looks like the phone line is still not working. Because when I answered the phone, that's when it disconnected worse than before. I will ring them up again. But I'm extremely limited into what else I can do. I've done everything that they've asked me to do now.
Who is it?
I'm with XLN. But everything has to be, if you need engineering stuff, it's all to do with BT. But they haven't changed any of the lines outside. So they're all the original lines. And if there's work being done elsewhere, it all creates problems. Frustrating. I do try very hard, but I'm extremely limited to what I can physically do.
Presumably it doesn't do all that when you're at the village hall.
No.
So it is definitely here.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
It's definitely something, but I can't work out what.
No.
Because when I'm just normally working, like when I'm working, the internet isn't
No.
a problem.
Only when the phone rings.
It's only when the phone rings and when I'm live streaming.
You'll just have to get an engineer in
Yeah, I think so. Now we've done everything that
and ring when he's here.
they've said.
You know,
Because he says the line's fine.
Yeah.
I well, the line is fine, but the internet isn't when the line's in
Yeah.
use.
But you have to keep him here whilst you're doing something.
Yes.
And ring. And
But we tested it this morning. I rang the phone of the shop and Jackie answered
yeah.
and was walking around and it was fine. So I think it's when something else is happening
When you're live streaming.
where, yeah,
Yeah.
there's some sort of crossover.
Yeah, it's overload, isn't it? And it kind of cuts out. Like
Yeah,
like
I
an
think
outage.
it can only allow one. But the phone line and the internet shouldn't really be connected anyway. I wouldn't have thought. I don't get it.
No.
There is another little thin bit of a window right up there. It could be. You see, that's it. It could be a junction box issue. It might not even be me. But it's weird how it's got worse over the last week or two. And of course, it's really frustrating. frustrating for me because I know it's frustrating for you, and there's nothing I can do about it. Just going to draw the arches around. Well, that's quite a big stone there, isn't it? So let me sketch those in. We've got 1, 2, 3. That curve D, yes, it is going the wrong way, and the reason is because it's big. Normally, what would happen is when we're looking at let me nick a bit of paper. Generally, you see, when we're looking at a cylindrical object like that, our eye level line, let's say, is there. If this was built in sections, anything above that line would gradually curve upwards. Now, when we've done paintings of lighthouses and things, that works. And anything below that line would curve down and get more severe as it was curving down. Now, I can't work out, because there are no hard angles, I can't work out where the eye level is, because there's no perspective lines on that castle. So I can't tell whether the eye line is actually, if he's shooting upwards, whether the eye line on that castle is actually this bit, because that is not curved anywhere near as much as that. So I think the camera's being held upwards. It's
because it's a double wall, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You've
It's
got the interior turret, which is curved, and then behind the flagpole, I think it's curved as well, isn't it?
It is like curved as well, yeah.
It's like a double, and there's a walkway.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 curves.
Yeah. It's an interesting wall. I don't think it is a drone. I think this is from the you see, down this bit is the big plateau, because you're surrounded with Dudley Castle. Let's see if I can find an aerial view of Dudley Castle. Dudley Zoo and Castle. Castle Hill, Dudley. Right, so let me zoom in on this bit. Right, that is the castle. That whole circular area is the castle, and then we're looking up a hill. The bit we're looking at is this bit, because there is the cannon, and there is a cannon. So to me, he's standing here.
That's like a little mini castle on its own.
It is, and then, but if you look, you see that's all castle ground.
But
there's the entrance.
Is that castle there?
This is all castle, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's all the castle ground.
So that's like a big turret, which I've.
That's like yeah.
Like a corner, like an extra bit.
Because that's the entrance in.
I expect that had a name.
So I think he's standing here at the entrance, looking up, and there's the cannon, and there's the turret that we're drawing, and there is the back wall. It's hard to tell from inside there how much space is inside that bit. But yes, yeah, that's the zoo. The original keep, yep. The original keep. Right, so I was doing the window stones there, wasn't I? The flagstones. Bless her, Jackie still hadn't gone, because the customer had gone in to have a browse as she was leaving, so she stayed down.
Oh, bless her.
I suppose I'll have to pay her now. She's doing work.
Give her a bonus.
Gosh, no. Just paying as a bonus at the moment.
Oh dear. Is It's ever so quiet in town. We were saying that when I was chatting to Jackie downstairs. I went to Waterstones and there's nobody in there at all.
No, it's as quiet now as it was in about 2011. You know, when the double dip hit.
I wonder whether people have just pulled the horns in because everybody's been sort of saying, oh, you know, we spend too much and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think so. I think people's habits have definitely changed, just in general. Because it's not necessarily that people are stopping at home, but people are doing stuff, but different stuff to what they did before.
Yeah.
And when you think it takes what they say about 21 days of constancy to change a habit,
Yeah.
and we've had 16 months.
Yeah.
And now people are deciding whether they want to go back to how they were or be different. And more and more people are choosing to be different.
Well, I'm definitely not spending as much money as I used to on.
No, well, I'm because the shop is a lot quieter now. I'm not even getting much of a wage now because I can't. There's nothing in. Online sales are much quieter, almost non-existent now. Real life sales are matching the non-existency, and that's not just our shop. Retail has dropped each month for the last 3 months.
I wonder why online sales here have dropped.
Online sales everywhere have dropped as well.
Yeah.
It's I think people are just not buying.
Yeah.
Whether they're waiting for Christmas, I don't know. I can hope.
Because if you're painting and drawing, you need materials. Although arguably, drawing, your pencils don't run out.
You don't need as
materials.
much, no. But it is. I'm trying not to be concerned.
Yeah, that's right. We've been this way before.
Yeah, but equally, I am.
Well, I do think it's odd. One of the things I do think is odd is that not as many people are coming to the classes. Not that I didn't expect everyone to rush back, but I think I thought that there would be maybe 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, I was expecting. We planned for a bigger increase in take up
Yeah.
than we've got, but
Yeah.
I think it'll come back. It just takes time.
Well, undoubtedly, it is easier with painting, for example, to do that at home.
Yeah.
I do find that easier.
Yeah. It's interesting just the way everybody's lifestyle has changed totally, and how what I think it's testimony to in a way. I mean, for my kind of business, it's not good, but how we have adapted admirably to an extremely unknown entity, and yet we've done it. I need to round that cannon off a little, and we've adapted so well. But maybe that in itself is a problem, because we are going, oh well, I don't need to do that because I do it myself now. I haven't been inside a supermarket since 6 months.
No,
I just don't. I don't go shopping because I can do it I do an online. I've been used to doing my online shop, my big shop, my weekly shop online, and now I don't need to.
You've had this that long to develop a habit
Mhm.
of shopping online.
Yeah.
So why would you break it now? And I've got a lot of friends who say they
Yeah.
don't go supermarket.
No, I don't go. I'll still go to real shops, little shops,
Yeah.
but big shops I don't do.
No.
I haven't been on public transport
No. I haven't been
or anything. I've changed. Not that I would go on it a lot anyway, but I wouldn't even entertain it now at the moment. So it's
steam engine.
apart from a steam engine. I think that is everything sketched out, isn't it? I'm going to sketch out the shadows line because that's a diagonal line there, and then that drops, and then there's another diagonal line there that drops vertically like that. So the light is coming from the angle of my pencil. But I don't like to, when I say how quiet it is, I'm not moaning and I'm saying I want sympathy or I want everybody to throw money my way or whatever. Because I think when you walk around town, any town, you can tell things are quiet, and our shop is not. We were just very fortunate in that people wanted us during lockdown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
kept you going.
that really did save us.
I wonder whether, people will come back. You used to have your little get-togethers downstairs where you do a bit of drawing and have a
Yeah, well,
cup of
yeah.
tea and a piece of cake.
If you
I've just picked one up, put it in
have
the
you
bag.
the new one,
Yeah.
yeah, there are a few new Saturday classes in there.
Oh,
Oh,
Saturday.
You see, it's the beginners oils. I'm doing a
When
full
is
day.
Is it?
Um,
Is it next year?
yeah, next year.
Oh, because I can book
Yeah.
a Saturday off then.
It's on there.
Is it just a one-off?
Yeah.
'Cause I can book
It's a
that
one
one.
day, and it's not. I've shortened the master classes because they're not master classes now. They're beginners classes, and they're like 10:30 till 2:30 or 10:30 till 3. So it's 4 hours. I think they will do it's just for me, because I've been in retail now for 25 years. I feel like I've spent the last 7 years constantly trying to reinvent what we do, just to try and Rob, just to try and keep present and keep active and visible and all of that, and it's tiring.
It is tiring.
It
I
is
can
tiring.
imagine. But it is a changing world. That's the trouble.
It
isn't
is, and a lot of the shops, that don't change are the ones that disappear, because you have to adapt to the needs of your customer. You can't just say, well, this is my shop, these are my hours, there we go, I don't do online and I don't do this and I don't do that. You've got to now.
I was looking at on the website for Charles Clinkard, the shoe shops
Oh, yes.
that we used to have, and in their Leeds branch, or one of the shops in Leeds where they've got a branch, they're now doing a bespoke service where you can go in and have your feet measured and have
Yeah.
your shoes, obviously for rich people. But I was thinking, that's them thinking,
More
how do we
boutique.
offer something that's not online?
No, and this is what you have to do. You have to offer, because I'm just going to graphite powder the sky. I don't want a lot because it's difficult. Would you say the sky is definitely lighter than the turret, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we don't want a lot of graphite powder on there. And this is where I see where my dirty hands have been. I can already see my fingerprints showing through. Annoying. I think it is a changing world, and we're all trying to get used to it, because none of us really know anything, do we?
And also, we're trying to decide what we want, what do we like, and
What bits of our old life do we want to keep?
Because, as I said to you before, you know me with Bambi Cross players.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been. I've only been like twice.
Yeah, and that was a big part of your life, wasn't it?
Exactly. And I'm not dropping out. I'm not saying I'm not going, but it's just that I
Maybe
don't
less
have the same
active.
enthusiasm to go and
No.
do it, because I'm doing other stuff, not least of which is drawing, painting. So yeah, I think people are just reevaluating, and
Yeah.
we're still doing it.
Absolutely. Well, it's still young, isn't it? We're only in 2021, and everything happened in 2020. So it's sort of it's a very new life for us all.
It is.
Right, I'm not going to go any darker. What I was rubbing out, by the way, was my fingerprint marks, and now I am putting the lid firmly on my graphite powder, because I do not want it to go everywhere.
I've got to put mine back in the pot because I've got too much out.
Now it's saying that my live video is interrupted, and yet there is nothing to interrupt my video, because you can vouch for that, Liz. That light's not green. That's on green. That's on green.
Yeah,
So this is Facebook. This is Facebook being naughty. Nearly cup of tea. It is nearly cup of tea o'clock, so that's good.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, it was you. I thought it was
I
one
just
there,
glanced at the clock.
wanting their cup of tea.
It is time. I'm just going to slightly go over the lines that I've just lost with my graphite powder. There we go. It'd be nice if you joined the oil one, Rosemary. It's only a one offer. Right, I'm going to go and... What are you having, a tea, Liz?
Yes, please.
Oh, I've got a customer as well.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Come in.
It's only me,
Oh, hello. It's all
Mrs.
fancy.
Overall.
Yes. Is it on the trolley? Thank you.
It's all right, my darling.
Is he in the shop?
Yeah, so thanks.
Lovely. Thanks, Kat.
A couple of little bickies.
Oh, you little.
Tide you over. They're so easy to eat, these little things, though,
Oh,
aren't
they
they?
just slip down, don't they?
Oh, where keep his? I wonder.
No, he won't want them, are they?
He will want them there. I'll leave it there for him. Oh, there he can see all of his shop. Yeah. Oh, I've been doing my little dance in the wrong direction. I'll remember next time. I always turn and face the till, but I should be turning and looking the other way. Look, and then he'll see me.
Oh, see.
Shh, don't tell him.
Bless him, he was 87, so he
Oh.
needed a bit of help. Right, how are we doing? Are we still there? Looks like we're still there. Right.
So the art history,
Yeah,
the Art Deco and the Art Nouveau,
yeah.
will they be some different bits?
Have you done the Art Nouveau one?
And the Art Deco?
Oh, have you? I will definitely be adding different bits in.
I don't mind repeating something because I don't remember all of it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting anyway, but
Mm.
it's
We'll-
always a trouble because I've come to them all
Yes.
and start repeating. But
I
I'll
have to do
definitely-
more stuff.
I'll book that beginner's oil
Yeah.
off work.
Yeah. I can't remember when it is.
February 26th, I think it is.
I'm just using my graphite stick to give me a bit of texture for the stonework. And I am going to go all over wherever there's stone. And then I'll use a pencil. I think this is a 6B graphite stick, but it doesn't really matter which.
Oh, they've
Which
got one
level of-
graphite stick. I don't know what it is.
It'll be a good one if it's from me.
It was. What you sold me, so whatever.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't sell anything that was rubbish.
Especially not pencil sharp.
No, not knowingly. Right, that's given me a little bit of extra.
What's that? You cotton wool?
No, this is just my graphite
Oh, you're
stick.
still graphite.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm going to switch to like a 5B or something. So I can go a little bit darker. Because the light is coming from the left, we know that. So I'm going to start shading in the shadows that we drew in before I nipped to make a cup of tea. Well, I didn't make a cup of tea. Kathy made a cup of tea while I was serving.
So was that 5B?
5B. I don't want to go too dark just yet, but also I want to, in a way, reserve the really darker grades for doing inside the windows.
Why, when I do my 5B, my bigger,
Yeah.
darker pencils, do I get a lot of graining? Is it just the paper?
Yeah. That's your paper.
I find it hard to get a decent depth of colour sometimes.
Let's have a look. I think it is more about your.
So when I'm rubbing it, you see,
Yeah, that's the
that's the texture.
Yeah. Which is quite nice in a way,
Mm.
especially for the stonework. But if you use your smudgy stick, that should get rid of a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely a Facebook issue today because I've just lost live feed.
Oh, I'm glad I'm here.
It's only for like split second.
Mm.
And do you know what's really weird? I've lost it on my phone, but on my live feed that I'm watching, I haven't.
How old?
So I really don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's gone again. But you can vouch. It's green. Green. That's green. It's definitely not. It makes me paranoid now.
It's definitely not anything that you're doing. It's something that is being done to you.
Yes, from elsewhere.
From elsewhere.
But they need to stop it.
Because it's frustrating. Trying to run a business.
I will give them a call. You see, as soon as the
And you want to
lesson
keep him
ends.
here and don't let him go until
No.
you've tested it all out.
You see, it's frustrating because, as I say, we did test it this morning to make sure, but clearly there's still something. I mean, yesterday I was having to restart the internet, not during the lesson, but a few times yesterday I ended up having to restart the router, which I shouldn't have to do every few minutes. But I'm also having issues at home. When I get home, my phone is not picking up my my router.
Really? Oh,
No,
that's good.
and it's set to pick it up, so I have to turn my router off and then back on again.
When was the last time you had an update then on your...
At home, oh gosh, never.
Because we had to have a new system, and they came and said your old system is just not strong enough to pick up everything these days. And it's okay, you know, it does it, but it really needs an upgrade.
Yeah,
And we thought, oh yeah, you know, it needs an upgrade. That's just to sell us more. So we had one.
Yeah.
And it's been loads better. Loads better.
I think
Kept on cutting out.
yeah, I'll have to give, because I'm with Sky at home, so I'll have to give them.
It might just be worth upgrading to a stronger broadband.
Yeah, I should be on the best one because I upgrade every year in terms of broadband, but it's my router that seems to be the issue, not the broadband.
Well, maybe, as I say, we have a new router, so maybe that's what's
It could be it, yeah.
Because we tend to think that everybody's out together, so, you know, let's just try and make more money by upgrading you.
Yes.
They are, of course. But sometimes it works.
Yeah.
How have you made... Right, hold on. You know where the shadow is?
Yes.
How have you made that look so 3D? Have you made that... Is that a darker line down there?
Well, yeah, because I lost that line.
Okay.
So if you darken it a little bit more behind, because if you think about it, it does do that naturally because
Yes.
the light is being restricted more, but that's still with the 5B. I
Yeah.
will go darker, but on the wall itself,
Yeah.
where it's all jaggedy, I am doing my pencil's on its edge. I'm doing a few more rougher lines.
Is that still 5B?
5B, yeah. Actually, you know, that dark comes down there. That's a lot darker than I have drawn.
Oh, what's the matter with these pens?
We got your new sharpener.
I have got my new sharpener. It's the pencil, I think. That's better.
Sometimes you have to get it right in the right spot, don't you?
Because this is what I struggle with. It's these darker shading lines that make things look 3D that I'm not very good at.
Yes.
So this is where I need to have a bit of extra help.
Yeah, and it's good practice as well doing something like this, I think, because of that. Because it's one thing. Oh, Sue hasn't had any interruptions. Sandra, sorry, hasn't had any interruptions at all with the lesson.
Interested.
So,
How come then?
well, this is it. If Sandra, I mean, she's not that far away from here. She's within the town centre.
Right.
If she can get, I don't know, essentially, if Sandra can get non-interrupted, yeah, I'm getting interrupted in my own shop. But not on every site. On the one that I'm watching is interrupted, and the one that I'm not. I think definitely there's a Facebook glitch still. But better to have it. I'd rather have a glitch and have a broken lesson than not have any lesson at all.
No, exactly. And the thing is, when it just goes off and comes straight back on again,
Yes.
it doesn't really interrupt you because 9 times out of 10 you're looking down anyway
Yeah.
when it goes, and you look up and it's just 2 seconds and then it's back on again.
Yeah. Well, this is it. I think most of the time when there's glitches, I'm just pressing down a little bit harder. It's best just to hold tight or use your refresh screen, but not log out and go back in again, because the feed is set that as long as there isn't a total disconnection, it will reconnect itself, you know. But it is frustrating, but you know, a year, nearly 2 years in, we are at the mercy. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And I know you all know that. It's just frustrating for everyone. Oh, do you know, I've just spotted that. There's a dark line here. And that must be the flagpole shadow. Well. I might do a few little curved little line flicky things to make it look like yes, if you're told the video has ended, because sometimes it'll say that the video is interrupted. The interrupted bit is hold tight. When it says your video has ended, you will have to go out and back in again. Which bit?
The right hand shading on the turret there.
That.
What did you do there? Was that
Just
sideways
on,
Okay.
a little bit more pressure.
See, that's what you're really good at, and I just can't quite get that. It just doesn't look through the
Oh, I added some colour to the mouse last week. I haven't posted it because I didn't like it.
Oh, right.
It's 2 Beatrix Potter.
Okay, mine looked a bit cartoony, but I liked it.
It was a bit annoying. I will show it you in a bit.
I did colour my blackberries.
Well, I use the Graphitint water soluble coloured graphite that I use from time to time.
Yeah.
And then I added a bit of black pen.
I've got some nice watercolour pencils that my mum gave me ages ago,
Yeah.
and I use them sometimes just to
Yeah, just to give it a hint of
give it a little bit.
tone. Doing a few little linear lines to make it feel like bricks, but I'm not really following contours or anything. I'm just doing either a line or loose rectangles, because they are quite small.
How do you not go over the lines?
I kind of do a little bit. I have to keep reinstalling the lines.
As you go over them.
Mm.
This is when you're doing the sideways.
Yeah, my pencil is almost flat, if you notice.
Yeah, I still can't do it.
It does take a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I think the drawing side of things, everything has its own challenges though, doesn't it? I mean, if you come from a watercolory background, acrylics are really hard. If you come from an acrylic background or a pencil background, watercolours are really hard. If you've never drawn anything, drawing is really hard. So it's I think any discipline that you're not used to.
Oh, but Barry, it's still not looking right. Why?
Let me have a look. Let's come and have a look.
Have I got too much of a hard line there? Look, yours is just really. Look, I can't. What am I not doing?
Yeah, so basically, this next bit, you do
Yeah.
the same thing but with less pressure. Same
Okay,
pencil, less
okay.
pressure, and then so it sort of feathers in.
Feathers in more.
Because actually that comes round quite a long way, that curve of dark, doesn't it?
It does. And that is, of course, what makes it look
More three-dimensional.
more three-dimensional. It's a bit better.
You see, I may go a bit darker with the shadow colour. It's always at this point tricky to know how dark do you go, that kind of thing. I think the time team thing at Broughton Castle is going to be televised at some point.
Oh, is it?
I think so. Into an hour, because I there was a video of them saying how hard they're going to find to condense all of their findings.
Well, we do deserve to see it, I think.
Yeah, I can't afford to support them on Patreon. I would really love to.
No, I don't want to.
I'm going to lightly shade this section a little bit more. I've got to remember that there are doors there, but that will push that back by shading that. That's pushed that back further.
You coloured in the windows, you have, haven't you?
Only those two lines there, because I'd lost them. The other ones I'm going to do much darker.
Is that the little door there, isn't it?
There's some interesting lines. I'm going to have to do the Union flag while I'm at it, very roughly. I darken these bits as well, just very lightly. I haven't changed pencil or anything, it's all the same pencil. I might as well just rub it with my finger or a smudgy stick, but you know I like getting mucky. Just to unify it, because I don't want it white, because it's a stone castle. And it won't get rid of all of your texture lines. It'll just help move it in, and Rosemary will tell me off for not having a piece of paper. Although, I am filthy. I was going to say, although I'm not getting anywhere near it. Clearly, I am, because my hands are filthy. Normally I get a little message pop up from Rosemary, go, don't forget to lean on some paper, because she's the queen of clean. She doesn't get filthy with this. I only have to look at a bit of graphite and I get covered.
I do agree with Rosemary that my smudgy stick is never as dirty as yours.
Yeah, I don't know what I do. Maybe I'm just filthy.
But I am always dirty when I'm graphiting. I'm having a new carpet, by the way.
Are
I
you?
keep getting my graphite powder all over the carpet. I've got
What you're gonna have to do? You'll have
carpet
to put plastic down,
tomorrow.
like a crime scene.
Yes, I think I need it. Did you watch? You don't watch much telly, do you? But last night, after the Bake Off, because I have to watch the Bake Off, that's fine. Secret pleasure. Was a thing called Murder Island, and it was like a televised murder mystery, like 8 amateur sleuths.
Oh,
trying
nice.
To solve a pretend murder that's been written by Ian Rankin.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it was, I think it's on every week. It was, I mean, it wasn't marvellous, but it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Them to try to put the clues together.
When you come back in classes, Rosemary, I'll filthy your stick up for you. We'll get it nice, and then you'll say, oh, it's too dirty now, it's too dark. I'll get it riffy. There's a nice black country word. Because we've said that the castle needs to be darker than the sky. So we have to try and do that. But I don't want it to be like 9B darker. That's too dark. So I am just mucking about with 5B. I ought to shade in any windows and things now, just so I know where they are, so we can go darker again. Promises. I will. It will be. I can't believe it's that filthy. Can I have a clean one again, please? Do you know the hardest bit in this picture will be this bank, or bonk as it's called where I'm from Dudley. It's a bonk because there's a town called Brierley Hill which is called Brierley Bonk. Brierley Bonk. I'm going to Brierley Bonk. Although
Why is it called a bonk?
a bank,
Yeah, but bonk. Did you say an A as an O then?
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Only occasionally. None of it makes any sense. But it's like Old English Black Country. Black Country is one of the oldest still spoken languages.
It's like sometimes you listen to people in Scotland from the Scottish Isles.
Yes.
And they sound almost medieval.
Because apparently Chaucer is supposed to be really good read in a Black Country accent.
I can imagine.
Because in the northern parts, near Dudley, you've got a town called Tipton, and Netherton around that, and they don't say phone, they say phone, hoem, school. You know, it's very much Chaucerian in that sense, and Shakespeare is supposed to sound good in Black Country.
I had the most amazing English teacher when I was at secondary, who loved Chaucer and he could read it like in Chaucerian, and he taught us to read it, and it was the most fascinating.
It's very lyrical, isn't it? It's almost, you almost have to sing Chaucer.
Yes, you do, and it's really, once you get into it, you can do it.
Yeah.
So it's really, but it's very strange to listen to.
But no, what's fascinating about the Black Country is it hasn't got a designated area. It's a bit like the Cotswold in that sense. But you have 9-10 different dialects. Because I'm from the southern part of the Black Country, the Worcestershire border.
Yeah.
We don't have a stronger accent as those in Netherton, Tipton, Sedgley, Gornal, all of that kind of area, Dudley area. Because they'll say, like, come with we, instead of, if there's only one of them, come with we.
Come with we, yeah. So that's very Chaucerian.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's only one.
Yeah.
And so it can be a bit confusing. Come with we. Going on, may I? Going on. Because you say bay instead of can't. I bay doing that. I could do that. Is can't do that.
Yeah.
I sure do that. I shan't do that.
Yeah.
Because the kids used to go, oh, Mr. Whitehouse, I can't do this. I can't do it. And I used to go, crows caw, children can't, and you're going to. But yeah, I used to get wheeled in because some of the teachers couldn't understand some of the children.
No.
They said, Mr. Whitehouse, could you translate this for me?
Oh, bless them.
Yeah. Even my wife, she's from Chester,
Yeah.
and she taught in Black Country schools. I mean, she's in Birmingham now. But she said to me, she came home one day and they're doing the Romans, and she went, I couldn't believe what they were saying. I said, what? And they said they had to write a story about the Roman invasion. And she said, one child wrote, the Romans am coming up the street. And I went, yes. And she said, but that's not right. I said, that's because you're reading it wrong. It's the Romans am coming. The Romans am coming up the street. It sounds much better. It's not. It's a verbal language rather than a written one. And when you write it, you have to write it phonetically.
It's the same around here, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're all I ain't
And tucken, I tucken it, yeah. My duck. Yeah.
Because when I started teaching, we were still in the phase where you had to correct
Yeah.
them, and then whilst after about 10 years, you had to stop doing that. It wasn't seen that you had to encourage accents, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But I still maintain that you need to be able to write it correctly.
Yeah.
And speak it however your dialect
Well,
is.
what's interesting then with the Black Country, we don't have mum, we have mom. It's MOM in the
Yes.
Black Country, but when we used to teach it, we have to write mum.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's going to be everywhere else. They're going to see it. But when we write it to, I mean, when I went into education, I then changed to MUM because I was having to write it all the time.
Yeah.
But my sister still writes MOM, and everyone in the Black Country, it's MOM.
My friend who's from Birmingham, it's mom.
Mom.
MOM, yeah. And Bab,
Bab.
that's Black Country as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Birmingham.
And Trarabit
Yeah.
is apparently from the old Irish, I can't remember what it is. It's two words, terra something, and it's a condensed version of an old Irish saying for take care. And when they came over during the potato famine, it got adopted because they all came to the industrial centre. So you go Trara bit is actually from the Irish. You still say mum, do you, Rosemary? I think I say mom, but write mum. But I am very proud of my Black Country roots, even though I've always been called a snob because I've had to slightly adapt my language as I've moved further south.
I like accents, but I do struggle with the fact that everybody seems to speak estuary these days.
Yeah.
And I don't like what I call when they talk like babbies. You know, they're very sort of lots of rolled R's, aren't they?
Yes.
Sort of speak like
The singing has gone like that, hasn't it? You know, it's very soft and flaky. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how that. I'm using a 9B just to get my windows in.
I think the windows are too big. Oh dear.
And I think my Canon's going to be like, oh, you see, will I use 9B for any darks? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go back there and there. Do my Canon. But you see, when I used to have to do like the hobbycraft shows for Dale Arowney and I was in Islington, I was only in my early 20s and I had a very broad Black Country accent, but I had to quickly adapt because they really couldn't understand me in Islington. When and obviously I was painting, so I was quite enthusiastic and excited and nervous.
Yeah.
So I was even more foreign.
So nobody could understand.
No.
But then you see, I was like the opposite because when I moved here from London, I had been to quite a good school and spoke nicely. Well, no, not nicely. I spoke with a bit of received pronunciation.
Yeah.
And moving up here, very quickly I had to adapt to speaking with a Banbury accent.
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't, you know, in my school, nobody spoke like that.
No.
They didn't understand you. So it can work both ways, can't it?
Absolutely. I think you have to adapt. And if I'm chatting to anybody from the West Midlands, any family, I'm just going to do the dark line of my flagpole, and I might try and erase the lighter line in a bit. As you can tell, I'm putting off doing the grass. Clearly, it's a grassy bonk. It's a grassy bonk where the cannon is on top of the hill. And it's a castle, not a castle, because it's in Dudley. It's a castle on the grass. That sounded like Mr. Punch. How bizarre, I don't... I think that's looking a bit solid, isn't it now? See, this wall, I don't want to do too much on it, but there is darker overhang lines. It's got to feel like... Chris and Rob, I imagine you're going to do really good ones of this. We did a lovely acrylic yesterday in between pauses. Of I'll show you that. A lovely mountain. I enjoyed painting that. That was quite fun.
I've been to places like that in Austria. Beautiful meadows.
Yeah, I hadn't worked out where that was, and it could be Austrian.
Yeah, beautiful.
I thought maybe Canada, perhaps, or I don't know. I couldn't work out the flowers.
That'll be the only. Or Transylvania is another place, and Romania where they have beautiful wildflower meadows. Apparently, I've never been, but apparently.
You see, Rosemary's from Birmingham, and she just said her school insisted on elocution lessons, and it stood her in good stead for work and social circumstances. And I think you know, it's only been in recent years that you hear news readers like Hugh Edwards, doing the news.
Well, the continuity announcers now, on particularly Radio 4, but BBC One as well, it's different accent every time. And there was like a really strong Caribbean
Yes.
lady the other day. It was wonderful.
I love it.
You think, good grief, where's this one from now? They've obviously recruited a large number.
Yeah. Well, it's to make the news and the TV for everyone, isn't it?
That's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
because otherwise it gets a bit like the medieval times when everybody only spoke Latin in church, only the educated people could understand what was being spoken.
Yeah.
Whereas what you want to do is you want to make everything feel accessible and everyone feel comfortable.
You do. Well, I like to hear lots of different accents
Yes.
rather than this blooming estuary that everybody is talking, because then it's just as bad as everybody
Yeah,
speaking.
no, exactly.
posh.
And that's a bit like with calligraphy, you know. What's interesting is that with calligraphy, each style of calligraphy that was bought in was only bought in because the previous style became illegible because everybody was learning how to do it quicker.
Yeah.
And so each time they learned how to do it quicker, it became illegible. So then they had to learn how to do another style. I agree, really strong accents can be quite exclusive if you can't understand it. I know there was a really broad Scouse comedian a few years ago, and I could understand him a bit, but not overly. And I know my mum really struggled to understand the jokes.
Do you watch Vigil on BBC One about the submarine?
No.
Well, that was very good, but there was a few Scottish
Yes.
people on it, actors on it, and some of them were quite difficult to understand.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to follow a plot, you do kind of need it to be relatively clear. But they've got quite strong Scottish accents. But it was set in Scotland, which was fine.
Yes.
But they were really, it was difficult.
Can't beat Taggart.
It's
There's been a murder. I love Taggart.
going back a bit. Oh, Kath is cooking something nice down there. Keep wafting up.
I know, it's terrible, all that nice food. You should be here on a daily basis. Apart from when she burns the tea cakes.
We had a tea cake at Van Jordan's, up by the cross.
Yeah.
And I do quite like it up there. However, when it came with flora. And I thought, ew,
You want proper butter.
I want proper butter really, unless I've specifically asked for something that's not butter. So it kind of,
I do like real butter.
I know, that's all we have now. We used to have flora, but we've gone back to butter about 3-4 years ago.
I think I've had to make so many changes to my diet. The one thing that I can do.
Is eat butter. I think the more natural the product, better it is for you, isn't it? And butter
I think
is
so,
a natural
yeah.
product, but you have to eat not as much, obviously.
Chris's internet's been really, really rubbish.
Oh.
So he's had to give up. Oh, that's a shame.
Yes.
What might be better, the live, because I'm going to download this anyway and put it on the thing, but what tends to happen is unless the video ends, the live stream recording doesn't have the same level of interruption.
That's really strange though.
Yeah, sometimes it might go a bit quiet or it'll pause because it skips, you see, so it'll miss it. So occasionally I might have said one thing and it disappears while it's catching up. I don't like it, which is why we're obviously using Facebook for our lives, but then I'm trying to use the new site for the recordings. I'm just going to try if I can get a nice thin line
Where did you do that?
flagpole.
Flagpole. Oh, I haven't thickened my flagpole up yet.
Well, no, I think this is too thick now. So I'll have to go in with me 9B.
What is that?
What is what?
I've got a funny bit that I've left white and I'm trying to work out
It's a rather chunky flagpole now.
Is that a cat?
His cat is a little
Baby.
baby child. Little youngster. Kathy.
Well, that is not too bad. I'm not 100% sure about the bit in the background, the chimney pot slash.
No, they're really hard to do because they're slightly sloped.
Yeah.
The battlement bit, if you like.
I'm not convinced by them. So I think I need to put a bit more shadow on them.
I think she's got new shoes.
How's Mrs. Karma Hart's back?
Better, yes. I think she's.
I know she's back in. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm on a Facebook page.
Mm.
So
I think so. She doesn't seem to be as.
they're bullying.
Yeah, she's not edging her way around everywhere now.
Oh, good.
So I think it's on the mend.
I told her to go up to the Spain Bridge up the road. But,
Because it's one of those things that you have to use, isn't it? The more you use it, the better. Because that's what I ended up having to do. I had to like crack on.
well, the trouble is, you've no idea that when your back's gone, you just think to yourself, well,
I've got to stop. Got to stop.
am I doing it making it worse?
Yeah.
Making it better? You don't know what to do for the best.
No, when I dislocated my knee the first time, they strapped me up and said rest and all of this. The second time, they just said just use it like normal. They didn't even give me a bandage.
But the funny thing is, you see Sarah, the physio up the road, she said to me after my first treatment, when she made me quite a lot better, just carry on and, do what you would normally. So I went back to doing a bit of the gym,
Yeah.
and then, oh my God, it just knocked me back again.
Yeah.
And I went and saw her again, and she said, well, you do need to exercise it, you do need to, and I'm thinking, yeah, but I can't keep on
No.
spending 50 quid having a physio, then I go to the gym twice,
And then have to go
I'm
back again.
I can't
Yeah.
do that. So, you just don't know what to do for the best.
No. I'm going to have to graphite stick this.
How's everybody
Grass.
getting on out Facebook then?
Yeah, how Facebook land, how are you doing? They're probably concentrating.
Well, hopefully they are, not listening to our wittering.
Right, I'm going to use the smudgy stick for this. And I'm going to go darker down here. Now, I know it's not like that in the photograph. But what I want to do, for two reasons. I want this to feel like this is down a hill. And also, I want the darker tones to come forward. We're doing good. Dee's doing good. Well, that's good. I think the internet. I would have liked the fact that since we've all had to do this for the last 18 months, we should all be on the best internet available now.
Yeah, you'd think it, wouldn't you?
Because clearly, even with people working from home, they're still working from home. Most people have chosen not to go back to offices because they lost a lot of time with the commute and
Yeah.
it is horrible for your mental health and all of that, isn't it? Sitting in traffic and because I used to hate it when I used to have to travel 70 miles in every morning to work, come to Banbury.
Oh, it's so much more relaxing, isn't it? Working, getting up in the morning, make yourself a cup of tea,
Yeah.
and then get straight on with it.
And maybe go in once a week or something for team briefings or whatever if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I think all of this slavishly working is not necessarily a good thing anyway, but I think we'll hopefully find a nice happy balance. Now that doesn't look like grass yet, but I might have to put some twiggy branchy things coming up. Because there are trees up this embankment. There's Just do a few little, what's this, 5B again. I think I'll do the trees. Well, there are two ways I could do the trees. I could use the battery eraser to do some white ones. How's that going? Did your shading work a bit better?
It did.
It's just varying the pressure though, isn't it? And I think that's
Yeah,
a hard thing to do.
it is, and I've got to learn that because it is definitely something I need practice with.
Yeah.
It lifts the whole drawing, doesn't it, when you got that right?
Yeah, it brings things forward, pushes things back. That's really what you're after when you're doing any level of...
Just do it dark.
Yeah, I just did it really darker down at the bottom. I'm using a thin eraser to try and pop some trees in, but I've just realised I've stuck them right in the middle of my picture. How silly is that?
Did you outline that hillock?
Yeah, I've outlined it with just little scribbles of grass. Because it didn't look like grass and I don't want it to look like stone.
It doesn't look like grass. You're right.
So I then smudgy sticked it, and it still doesn't look like grass, but
Right. Okay.
I'm doing a few erasings of trees that I will then go with a darker pencil.
Oh, look at the state of me. How can Rosebery not be good?
I know I haven't been leaning on anything, and I should have been. Because the biggest difference that we have in the Black Country is that we have tea in an evening, not dinner. And supper to us is not a meal; it's a snack before bed.
Yeah.
We got invited to supper once, and we thought it would be like a bit of jam on toast or cornflakes or something, or cheese on toast, but it was like a proper meal. That really threw us when we moved down here.
I've affected calling it supper because I know that's quite cold, isn't it?
Yes.
We have supper, but it's not. I grew up thinking
It's
supper was after your dinner in the evening.
Yes.
That was a bit of bread and butter
Yeah,
before
because you
bed.
have breakfast, lunch, and tea, then supper before bed. Yeah, so we have tea time. Yet, yeah, dinner is lunchtime for us. Breakfast, dinner, and tea.
Yeah. Yes. We used to have dinner when I was a kid at lunchtime.
Because you have dinner ladies, don't you? Because
Right, you do. Exactly. Well, I do say, what do we have now? Breakfast, lunch, and 9 times out of 10, supper. But that's only because I've taught myself to say supper, because then I sound posh. But really,
it would be, you'd say dinner.
I'd say dinner. And in Scotland, it's tea.
Yeah, same as
You'll
Black
have
Country.
your tea.
Absolutely, I have tea in the evenings. I go home for me tea. Oh, Dee is London and she had breakfast, dinner and tea, so she had tea.
Yeah, I'm London.
But you have your Sunday, you see for me, Sunday tea
Yeah.
is like carnation milk and tin fruit and sandwiches,
Yeah.
jelly, trifle.
Yeah.
That was Sunday tea.
Yeah, bit of jelly.
Because you had a nice big roast for Sunday dinner.
We used to have
Sunday
Saturday
lunch.
tea round at my nan's was either, this is when we lived in London, Winkles and bread and butter or sardines on toast. That was Saturday tea.
Oh, Sue in Essex had tea in the evening.
Did anybody have Winkles for their tea?
Who had
London.
Winkles for tea, London? Did you have Winkles?
I can't believe that. I couldn't eat a Winkle now if you paid me. I would be sick. I hate fish, but we used to sit there with a pin, getting them out of the shells.
Oh, Sue had Winkles on Saturday tea.
Well, that's what we had.
Yeah.
Winkles on Saturday tea with a bit of vinegar.
Must be the thing.
It was a London thing, clearly. Perhaps it's when the fishman came.
So I've erased very slightly tree trunk branch shapes coming through, and then I'm outlining them with pencil. So I don't want them to stand out, you see, and they're there. You can just about make them out. I might have to show you in real life because it doesn't show up on the screen very well. Egg, cup of vinegar and a needle, Sue says. See, I've rubbed those out and then outlined them.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I
So
might
it's
do
subtle.
That. Yeah.
It shows up on the telly, but it doesn't show up on the screen here.
Is that Sue Cross?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say she was.
So you
about
were
my
Saturday tea twins.
age. Yeah, that's definitely what we had.
The only thing I had a pin with was pomegranate. To eat a pomegranate with a pin.
Oh, that was dead posh pomegranate.
We didn't have it very often,
No, I never saw a pomegranate.
but apparently having a pin in a pomegranate was just a way to keep children quiet.
Well, I think that was the same with the Winkles.
Yeah, and it did. I think that's my mum used to do that all the time with me.
You have
Once-
to
once-
concentrate. If you're doing a Winkle, you have to put it in. You take the little cap off.
Yeah.
And then you put your pin in, and then you have to like coil it round because it comes
Oh,
out
right.
like that, and then it's like eating a snail. It's
So-
disgusting.
Back at home, Rosemary had dinner in the evening. Sunday was breakfast, lunch, tea, and dinner, and supper was milk and biscuits. All depending on the day, not all on one day. So dinner was when her dad came back from his shifts. Yeah.
How amazing, isn't it?
I used to love Sunday tea. We used to go to my nan's for Sunday tea.
Yeah. Yes, that's where we were at
Yeah.
Manhattan with Winkles. That was Saturday.
But sometimes we'd also go, we wouldn't go every Sunday because on a Saturday we'd go down to my nan and granddad's and we'd do the shopping for them, and then we'd come back and watch the wrestling with Giant A Stacks and Jeff Capes and Big Daddy,
Yeah.
and watch Metal Mickey and Bullseye.
Love metal.
But when we got back from shopping in the village, it would be the Pools was on,
Yeah.
and it'd be like Bradford 2, yeah, Birmingham 3, and all of this. I used to love it. You don't get that now.
No, they don't do it now, do they?
Little bit of shadow coming down. 10 to 4. I ought to tell you what I'm inflicting on you next week, I suppose. I know, these afternoons just fly by, don't they? Oh, an autumnal watermill. So slightly structured. Tomorrow morning is where are we? A wintry tree practice in pencil.
Well, I need wintry tree practice.
Thursday afternoon is frosty misty views over Arthog, North Wales. That's also repeated on Monday evening, and it will be the same one image repeated. Friday afternoon is a man rowing a boat across the lake. Saturday morning is calligraphy, and we're doing illuminated monogram. Sunday morning is a stormy sea crashing against a promenade in watercolour. Monday morning live from Wardington. Colourful night sky with looming winter trees in watercolour. I've already said Monday evening. I will double check Sue, but yes, I'm going to say yes. There is definitely room for you tomorrow morning because you may be on your own. Tuesday evening is back, and that's a giraffe kissing its baby on the head in pencil. And then next Wednesday you've got your autumnal watermill. So apologies for those of you that had a lot of connectivity issues. A lot of the time it wasn't me, I promise. And I think when it was me, it wasn't actually me. It was my everything was fine. The only time I actually had the effect was when the phone rang, but that could have been a random glitch, so I'll have to try it again after class to see what's going on. I think I'll call that a day. I enjoy doing not my hometown as such, but going back to me roots. But yeah, go visit it if you ever get a chance. The zoo is quite nice actually. It went through a very dodgy stage in the 80s. But
Has it got cages or?
no, it's all. I think it's nearly all big open.
Yeah, 'cause I don't mind the big open ones. I just don't like cages.
No, there's sea lions. I think there's penguins. There's flamingos, orangutans.
Wow, there we go.
So thank you so much for your company today. It's been really nice. I'll try and download this as soon as I can. Get it on the new Artstream website, Artstream Club, and then it's available for anybody on catch up. Just in case Facebook goes down again. So yeah, we've got nearly 70 on there now. Mixes of all sorts, and even those of you that have been in certain groups, there are lessons that you won't have seen, because obviously we do so many classes in a week. You're not in every group. Well, most of you aren't in every group, so you might find things, you know, when you're really bored and you want to do something and you think, I fancy doing some art, but I don't know what I want. At least with the new site, when you browse through it, you can see all of the pictures, all of the artwork, so you can tell, can't you? Then you go, oh, that looks nice. I'll learn that one.
I looked and I thought to myself, I clearly do too many classes.
Because I've done that one. Oh well, I'm adding. The last 10 to 15 that I've added this week, you will not have seen or done.
Brilliant. I'll have a look. So I'm looking for a nice landscape.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something in there.
I'll find something. Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Have a wonderful week ahead, because we're halfway through the week, aren't we? So it's hump day today, so we've got a nice end of week and weekend to come. So stay safe, please look after yourselves, and I look forward to seeing. I'll take a photograph of this and post it under where I posted the reference image, so you can see what it's like. Of course, if you're watching on Artstream, you already know what this picture is, because it's what led you to buy the lesson in the first place. So thanks ever so much. Take care, stay safe, see you soon. Bye bye everybody, bye bye.